A sleep clinic, a group of exhausted narrators, and dreams that don't stay in the dark. Every night in October, nightmares become reality. Listen to this epic 31-part saga where the only thing scarier than the dreams is the therapy. Creepy presents The 31 Days of Horror. The nightmare begins October 1st. Listen to the whole series on the Creepy feed wherever you listen to podcasts. Wake up to the nightmare.
We're gonna carry on and plan the sequel, because let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
And welcome back to Micro Queers. It's our sporadic queer horror movie review, and I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we are discussing Marcel Walz's homage to films like The Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes in Brute 1976.
Indeed we are, yeah. So this film has a writer in Joe Knetter, and it's interesting because I feel like you and I are maybe on slightly different pages, but Trace, before we dig into it, in the chances that people have not watched this movie, can you give us a quick logline, please?
Yeah, so, Brute 1976 takes place in 1976 and sees Raquel and her girlfriend have car trouble and break down on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. At the same time, a group of people are in the desert for a photo shoot, and soon they stumble upon an abandoned town where a family of masked psychopaths reside. And so immediately we've got our queer content, we've got our Raquel and her girlfriend, and of course, we should point out that the director, Marcel Walz, is gay as well.
Yeah, so I guess to kick things off, would you recommend this here title, Trace?
God, no, absolutely not.
Okay. It's very emphatic and very fast.
No, there is one reason to watch this movie, and there is one particular kill scene that I think is I think it's an all-timer. It's just surrounded by a not great movie.
Right.
But I'm also not very familiar with Walz's work. Like, I know he did the Blood Feast remake from almost a decade ago. But looking through some filmography, and he has a pretty substantial amount of films that he's directed, but I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, I had not heard of this guy before, but I was actually kind of surprised at how the film looks decent. Like, we've had a number of conversations about indie horror filmmaking and how sometimes it can look a little bit low budgety, because in fact they often are very low budget. And I thought that this movie had the proper aesthetics to convincingly pull off a mid-70s setting, but that it still looked decent enough. So that's part of the reason why I was like, oh, I think we should check this out. And also, this film is quite queer, because we do have these two girls who open the film. We also have a gay photo shoot director in Geordie, who is played by Adam Bucci. We have a kind of Nathan Lane in the Birdcage-esque character, Daisy, who is played by Jed Rowan. And then, we're doing all of these homages to famous exploitation, rural horror films of the 70s. So I was like, oh, there's a lot to unpack here. I think, I'm sorry to now bring it all the way back.
Yeah.
I'm softly recommending this film. I think my biggest issue is that there's a lot of interesting things, but this movie is just way too long. And for me, that is the killer. Like, if this was 20 minutes shorter, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Worth your time.
Yeah, no, I'm actually in the exact same boat. My main issue, so yes, the editing is excruciating. There is a semi-watchable 75 to 80 minute movie in here, but that it actually crosses the 100-minute mark is borderline unforgivable.
Yeah, it really just drags. The pacing is super slow. So even when you're like, oh, it's not that bad, you're just kind of like, why are we hanging on this scene? Like, let's go, please.
And I think you really feel it in the back half more so than the first half. Because the first half, I'm kind of like, okay, I kind of get what we're doing here. It's really sleazy, almost borderline exploitation film. We are not PC in this movie.
No.
But yeah, the shots just go on forever in the back half, where I feel like, especially during suspenseful scenes, we should be cutting quicker.
Yeah.
The performance is such a mix, because my other issue besides the editing with this movie is I don't feel like it can quite nail down a tone because it's a jokey film. There are jokes in this movie, and sometimes I think it's supposed to be almost a parody of these types of films. But then in other moments, it does seem to want us to take it very seriously. And when we get to the ending and kind of the motive for this family, I'm kind of like, okay, so I also feel like you're trying to make a statement, but then the acting styles, like some actors know exactly what movie they're trying to make, but then others are making a completely different type of film, and it just makes this disconnect that makes for a confounding, but also sometimes, because of the editing, boring experience for me.
Yeah, particularly if you're not connecting to the characters, if you're feeling like it's not all meshing well together, because we often separate characters so that we can have pairs or individuals go off and explore this kind of abandoned highway town, because of course the new highway, it's very psycho, the new highway has, new traffic flow over, so this family has been sort of left to crumble in the desert, and then, these very urban people show up and they're like, fashion-y and queer, and it's a mixture of diverse groups and so on, and you think, okay, so we're going to have a culture clash, and that definitely does happen. But yeah, some people deadly serious. Some people playing it like this is very campy and schlocky and, as you said, exploitation-y. And I think sometimes you're like, oh, okay, that character in this moment works well for whatever the style performance is. But then other times when they interact with other people, and you're right, this really comes to the forefront when people have to interact more frequently or in larger groups in the back half of the film. And I just thought, ooh, now it feels like we're trying to mix too many different styles, and it does not come together as a fully cooked meal.
Well, and you're going to laugh at me saying this because it's something that I've complained about people saying about, like, I don't know, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 03 remake. But I agree. This movie does look actually good. I think it's produced very well. There are really good gore effects. But I would also argue that it's so sleek and shiny looking that it kind of dilutes any of that kind of 70s grindhouse aesthetic. And that may be the intent, but I also think that it kind of just doesn't really work for, again, whatever this film is trying to do.
Yeah, like, folks, if you're still not really understanding our issue or our sticking point with this, imagine original Texas Chainsaw Massacre mixed with moments from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 with the shiny veneer of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003.
Well, and also, I'm going to say throw in a little bit of Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses, because the Sunshine character, who is part of our group but is revealed to actually be a member of the family, it gives me kind of like baby vibes from those movies.
Right, yeah.
But also, I mean, like, there are some genuinely funny, like, weird moments. Like, like the Nathan Lane character, Daisy, one of her first lines is, well, I say her, but I feel like he even says...
I don't even know. Yeah, he says that he identifies as male because he's happy to have, like, a penis, but that he enjoys, hacking up women, wearing one of the character's breasts, and, like, doing drag and so on.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of his first lines is, oh, she had some great breasts, so I took them. And I was like, okay, like, that's pretty fun.
It's weird. It's wild.
But we also don't do much with this character. Like, I thought that the Daisy character was going to be kind of the matriarch of the family. And
me too.
And we do get Mama Birdie as the matriarch, played by Giselle Yvette. And she, I thought, kind of knew the movie she was in. Like, she has that moment where she's like, oh, it would be real bad if something happened to Sunshine. Oh, and like, just this really like evil laugh. But then I thought the music and the editing wasn't doing her any favors, because it was treating it seriously, when this, I thought, she was playing it like a joke.
Yeah. And okay, folks, obviously we are definitely spoiling certain aspects of the film, as we're apt to do with microqueers, but I think we have to talk about the ending of the film, because by this point it's feeling a little bit laborious. It's like we've been ready for the movie to sort of end, or at least ramp up, give us something exciting, and then get the fuck out the door. And we get this climax where we learn that the family is definitely a found family, because it's like a wide mixture of different types of people. They're clearly not meant to be blood relations.
Yeah.
And we learn that they basically pick one person from each group that stops off, and they kill everyone except for that one person, who is then more or less forced to join the family. So there's two potential candidates from this group that we have been following. And the messaging is that it's easier for marginalized people to join this family with Mama Birdie and Sunshine, because the outside world is too punishing. It's too dismissive. It's like, you might as well be safe and hunker down with us. And the main character who has emerged over the course of the proceedings is Roxy, who is played by Adrienne McLean. And she says, no, like the world is changing. I'm a black model and like I finally made it onto the cover of a magazine. It's 1976. Like we're moving forward. There's progress. And then like it all just kind of goes to shit, and it's really fucking unclear what the film is actually trying to say, if it is in fact trying to say anything at all.
And that's kind of the thing where I was like, look, I would have been, that's where the 75-minute runtime should have come in, where it's like, I don't need a big grand statement in this movie, but it is muddled because I was like, okay, it seems like you're trying to pick the most marginalized member of each group. And it's not clear why they only pick one person when if there are more marginalized people in the group. I was very confused as to why the first person we kill is one of the lesbians. It's like, okay, well, like 1976, like maybe that should also be your person.
Right.
I'm unclear as to why Sunshine was a member of this family when I don't think she's particularly marginalized as a blonde, hot white woman.
Yeah, who seems to be doing pretty well for herself. So we have identified 2 potential candidates to join the family, and they battle each other and seemingly both die.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I to take from this? Because also, like, I don't for an instant believe that Raquel, she's the other woman apart from Roxy. She's played by Gigi Gustin. I don't understand why they fully turn on each other if we're meant to believe that it's kind of Stockholmy, or they truly don't believe that they can get out of this unless one of them dies. Like, the only way I can survive it is if I kill you, bitch. And it's like, that is all going unsaid, which is wild in a movie that kind of over explains a lot of things.
Oh my god, yeah, because the big monologue scene for the villain just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, it's like, no, we get it. It's just one of those things where, again, I think that there, as you said, is a watchable film. If this was 75 minutes, if we maybe tried to coalesce or rein in some of these performances, or just, I don't know, find a way to juggle some of the tones a little bit better. But then the end of the film really just shoots itself in the foot, because the movie just kind of ends and I go, ugh, that was long and muddled.
Well, because Roxy, basically, like, she gets stabbed by Raquel, then she kills Raquel because she's like, it's mad at her, gets revenge, basically, is how I took it. And then she goes to lie next to the corpse of the man that she professed her love to earlier in the film and just dies next to his corpse, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah. Is it a tragedy? Is it partial comedy? Is it political statement? And question mark.
Now, all of this being said, I mentioned that there is kind of an all-timer set piece in this film. And while I think it's interesting, though, because, we say, oh, yeah, we're doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we're doing Hills Have Eyes, but then we also do, like, a full Scream ripoff of the scene where, like, the killer is, like, under the car and, like, constantly unlocking the door. I was like, right. Like, it is the exact same scene. I was really thrown by that, but
yeah, it's not great, to the point that I actually forgot about it until you put it into our notes. So
I this was very egregious for me, but the gore in the film is pretty good. We actually are doing a lot of cutaways during actual, like, moments of impact, especially when we get to this chainsaw bit, but we are showing a lot of practical gore effects in aftermath, except the
standout piece, which is very maybe indebted to Death Drop Gorgeous, but folks, we have penis trauma.
It is wild. So we know that one of these guys has, like, a big ol' hog. What do they call it? A hairy hog?
Something like that.
But he goes to the bathroom, takes a very long shit, then finds a glory hole. And of course, we have the 2 fingers luring him in. And I was kind of like, this outhouse smells like sweat and shit. So, like, why would you even think someone wants to blow you in here? But
hey, don't kink shame.
Such is the curse of the straight man, I guess. But anyway, we get this prosthetic penis, a hard prosthetic penis, which looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was a dildo until we actually start to cut into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, something's going to happen to this dick.
Oh, sure.
You just know. And I was like, okay, we're going to cut it off, whatever. No. We get a sounding via drill bit in this dick.
Yes, and folks, if you don't know what that means, it means that we drill into the hole in the head of the penis, and it's like full on graphic. Like, we're seeing everything, and it's surprising It's super exploitative and it's highly entertaining. Like, I was just like, oh, can we recognize this in the Hereditaries? Because this is great.
Well, and this is one of those things, too, where the comedy comes in, because, like, the drill bit fully gets in his urethra, and he's kind of like, oh, that's interesting, that's different. And it's like,
Yeah.
wait, no, like, if there's a drill bit in your urethra, that's an immediate, like, what the fuck? So
Yeah.
there's comedy there, and then he also dies from this. Also,
Yes.
yeah, if you don't know what sounding is, Google it.
No, don't.
But no, and this happens about, I think, right before the halfway point of the film. And so I was kind of like, when I was kind of starting to dip out, I was like, oh, cool. I guess we're kind of like in the home, not the home stretch, obviously, because we're before the halfway point, but we're going to get more things like this. And this kind of is the peak of the gore in the film.
Yeah, this is the standout set piece. And then after this, it just kind of feels like a bunch of sporadic chase sequences, and it feels very familiar. So yeah, I mean, at this point in the film, I definitely thought, oh, wow, if this is ramping up, like this is a taste of what's to come, we are in for a wild fucking ride. And then, yeah, you realize, oh, this is as good as it's going to get. So I do think this is a standout set piece. I think just to wrap up, it's a little too long. We needed to be a little less precious, do a bit more strategic cutting. And I think this could have been entertaining. Like, I would still gently recommend this to folks if you're interested in checking it out, if you like those movies that it's paying homage to. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Hills Have Eyes. This is okay. It's real, like, truly, it was that runtime. It just felt punishing by the end.
I will say, I do think that there is another movie that this reminded me of, and it's a more modern film. But it is the 2009 film The Hills Run Red.
Oh, okay.
With Sophie Monk and Janet Montgomery and William Sadler. And it's kind of a very similar thing, but a bit more meta, because it's people are making a movie in the woods. And of course, there's like this like baby face, like, chainsaw killer in there.
Sure.
But a lot of this movie did remind me of that. And that movie is 81 minutes long.
There you go. Yeah. It's wild just what the difference between about 10 and 15 minutes can do for a film in terms of, okay, that felt easy breezy versus, oh my God, please make it stop.
Yeah. So I don't know. I agree. Like, check it out if you're curious. It is worth a watch just for that glory hole scene. But
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I wouldn't recommend this as a whole. But
okay.
You do
okay.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, everyone. Well, that's the end of this. So until next time, we can cross out Brute 1976.
Indeed. And cross out microqueers.
How can I describe this catastrophe? I had worked hard for nearly 2 years, that I might infuse a spark of being into the lifeless thing that lay at my feet. I beheld the wretch, the miserable monster whom I had created.
Regarding Frankenstein is crowdfunding now. Go to bit.ly/REFrankenstein to support the show.